Hey guys, I just wanted to take the honors to introduce you to Tammy Walker. She's been working long and hard on all of this training. I know she's been busy like all day, and it's jam packed. I think you guys are going to be very excited. Please pay close attention and benefit from all of Tammy's great experience in travel. And thank you so much, Tammy, for doing it.
Thanks, Verde. Okay, guys, who got a group since Monday? I know I got a phone call immediately after the training last week, and was helping somebody with one, but she was ready. She was looking at groups while we were actually doing the training. So if you got a group, type it over here in the chat so we can see. Tonight is just full. Bear with me. I don't know how long this is going to take. But it's information that you really want. If you want to do groups, this is information, trust me, that will help you in the end. So type over in the chat. Let us know if you've gotten any groups since Monday, or if you're working on any groups. I know I sent out a bunch of emails to some people with the ones that I had talked about for our agency that I had pulled up. So let's get started. And if you have any questions, just type them. And then at the Q&A, then we'll get to them. Even if you're not able to stay, I can at least answer them, and you can get the answer later. So let me do a quick share here. Okay, I think we should have sharing going on here. All right, so this is part 2. We did this on Monday. Part 2, group cruises, the good, the bad, and the money. And we're going to talk about the money tonight. So let's just get started so that the quicker we get done here, we can get you off of here. All right, guys, group cruises, what do we need to get started? All right. Well, first of all, we got to be able to find dates and pricing. This is assuming that you got your group. Okay, we talked about this Monday. You got your group, you found your group, you went out, you did that. You started, looking on different businesses, going to your friends and family, whatever you did to get a group, you got one. So now we got to find some dates and some pricing. We've got to create a group. We got to reserve some cabins in our agent portals at one of the cruise lines. We need to look at amenity points, and we've got to figure out what kind of special benefits we're going to give to this group. Are we going to give them an onboard credit? Are we going to give them wine in the room? There's a list that's so long it's ridiculous. So we'll take a glance at that. Then once we get the group and we figure out what we want exactly, we're going to create it. But then we've got to worry about the contracts and all the dates that are on this contract. So we're going to go over that. Agent responsibilities. You don't just go in and create it and then you're done. There are things that you absolutely have got to be very careful about, very diligent about, very organized about. I'll go over those things. Then we've got to manage this group. We've got to, from start to finish, we've got to bring a bunch of people together. Often they're total strangers to us, and their personalities are not always going to mesh with ours. You're going to always have somebody in the group that's a little difficult to deal with, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about providing that VIP service that we talk about every week. There's a lot when it comes to cruises and more when it comes to groups. If we're lucky, they live right here by us in Florida and they're driving, but that's not always the case. I've got one right now coming from Ohio. So then we start talking about air, and we've got to get them hotels, and we've got to get them transfers and insurance and excursions if they want it. So we're going to go over some of that. Support, who, where, and when. I told you that I didn't get to that Monday, so I'm going to throw that in there for you. Okay, so I've got a group. Now what are we going to do? Well, the first thing we're going to do is, I don't care if it's your family, somebody's going to need to be a group leader. So you need to, whether it was a business, somebody at a business that wants to do it, somebody at the fitness center that you might have went and talked to, we've got to find a group leader, somebody that is willing we can make a phone call and they help us spread the word, whether that's by email, text, whatever. So we're going to make sure that that we do that. Just make sure that the group leader knows that you're going to be calling on them a lot, you know, for some help. There's no way to, I call it herding cats, and we don't need to be herding cats. Things get missed, people don't get told. Just make sure that the group leader is willing, able, and is ready to participate. Then we're going to decide who, when, where, how much, and how many. So we need to decide who all's going, when do they want to go, where do they want to go, if they have a preference, how much are they willing to spend, how much are we seeing rates come up at, and how many cabins do we think we can sell. So we're going to watch for the payment dates and the availability when we go in there. I'll show you that. We're going to go in and we're going to definitely look at payment dates. I can tell you that if you find a group that is in May or somewhere around May, those deposits are typically on Carnival going to fall around Christmas. I do everything I can to avoid that. I want my payments to always come. I don't care if it is just the deposit. I'm telling you, when it comes to Christmas, avoid it at all costs if you can, because people, obviously it's Christmas, they're going to want to spend money on other things, and the cruise is going to be the least of their worries come Christmas Day or come that month. So I want it to be no later than the end of November. Or I want it to be in January sometime. I want to try to avoid that month as much as possible. So we're going to check that, and we're going to check for availability. We're going to see what groups are available. Just because a group is available doesn't mean it has very many cabins left in it, or that the ship has very many group cabins still available. We're going to decide on the amenities, and when I talk about amenities, that's those points that we talked about Monday. We're going to decide, do we want to give them an onboard credit? There's everything from bathrobes to wine to even upgrades to a higher level cabin, and travel agent increased commissions. You can actually put amenity points towards that. And also the free berths. We need to look and see if it's a promotion like what I talked about. Sometimes they have promotions where 5 is a group, where 8 is actually a full cabin, 2 people instead of 1. So you want to look and see, and then there's also some sailings where they have got them to where you have to have 10 instead of 8 cabins. You have to have 10. You definitely want to check that. We're going to schedule it in advance, unless it's some fluke thing that somebody comes to you and says, we've got a family reunion, we just decided the other day that this is what we want to do, and we're ready to go in a couple months. Trust me when I tell you that you want this to be out. If it's something you're going to market, that you need to actually have time to grab people and bring into it, you want it at a minimum of 6 months out. And 6 months is pushing it. It is not, it's not easy to get those payments and get those people. You can do it, don't get me wrong, but you definitely want it to be 6 months to a year, even 2 years. They're letting us book into 2018 now. So if you need to grab something up because you know somebody goes on, you've got people that go every spring break, grab 2018. I've got one right now. Initial deposit amounts. With this promotion, for instance, there was no initial deposit. Any other time with Carnival, it's a minimum of $25. I talked about this Monday. It's a minimum of $25 per person, and then on Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, it's the full deposits due. So actually, in a lot of ways, I think it helps you. Please don't ever collect $25. Number one, those people do not, by the time a couple months rolls around and they've got to put down another $100 to $250 or $200, and they've put down $25, they'll lose that. $25 is just not a commitment. That people are willing, they throw that away at McDonald's. So don't think that $25 is going to be a deterrent for them to not go on the cruise. My initial deposits, no matter what, are anywhere from $50 to full payment. And I say full payment because if you are birthing into an existing group, you want to try to always collect the full payment you're doing a benefit by putting them in that group anyway. They didn't know it existed, and when they called you, they understood they had to put a deposit down. So you shouldn't be telling your clients anything that they don't already know. They're already willing to put down the full deposit. They don't have a group. You're just going to give them the good news that you were able to get them in one. They got maybe a lower price, but they definitely got some benefits as far as the amenities. So collect the full deposit on those. If it is a short time frame, you'll need to do the full deposit anyway. But $50 to $100 is what I collect on Carnival always. Like I said, I don't care if it's my family that does several things, and we're going to talk about deposits and length here in a minute. Create a cruise information form. This is one of the handiest things. I have one. I'll be happy to send it to anybody that wants it. You just need to let me know. It has everything on it. If somebody, I literally, when I go to set up a group, I send this to the group leader. If I have a list of email addresses, if I'm doing, say, a cruise night where I'm just going to a business or a club, meeting or whatever to talk about doing a group cruise, then I take a bunch of them with me, because you're going to need this, and it kind of covers every basis for you. It's got names, addresses, date of birth, everything you need to get them in the system when they finally pay their full deposit. It's got the sailing information on it. It's got the categories that we have held, what the pricing is on that, when the deposits are due, when full payment is due. It's also got at the bottom, my credit card authorization is on there. So it covers that. It's got an insurance disclosure that says basically you do want or you do not want travel insurance, and they understand that if they don't choose to get travel insurance, what the benefits are and what the responsibility that they're taking on as far as possibly losing their money. So I do that. I don't always have a cost for the insurance, because it's based off of age and the cost of the trip. So, and I don't do insurance through the cruise lines unless somebody just absolutely insists on it, which I don't think's ever happened. It has the cancellation and refund policy, and it has if they have any special diet or special needs, they have any, they need a wheelchair, they need me to get a scooter for them, anything like that. So I've got all of that. They can just mark what cabin they want. They can put how many people. They can put if they have the special needs for anything, and that they understand the refund policy, the deposit dates, all of that, and we're good to go. Okay, let's finish this. We've got a cruise now, what? And this is funny. Someplace hot enough to melt fat the moment I step on the beach. You want to get a list of people with their email addresses if you can. So if you can get it from your group leader and just say, hey, who do you out of this group, whether it's a club, a business, whatever, do you have a list of email addresses so I can reach out to them? Do you know anybody that you know for sure would be interested, or you want me to make sure that I let them know because they have friends and everything, they want them to go with them? Get any information you can ahead of time so that you can, send them some information about it that they may not even be aware yet that you guys are creating this group. Create a flyer. All of the cruise lines have a marketing section in their travel agent portals. You can go and create a flyer for specific sailings, for a group. You can do it just for a ship. You can do it. There's so many. Please go look at them, and they're on all three. You want to take that flyer and you want to put it on social media. You want to email it to your people that you have email addresses for. If it's an open group that you're just marketing, send it out to all of your VIP clients. And you want to print it because you're going to need it if you've got to go and do like a cruise day or a cruise night. You want it to have the itinerary, the pricing, the deposits, all the dates, all the dates for final payment, everything. The ship information, the port information if you can, some pretty colored photos, all of that. You'll see these really nice flyers in the back, and you can also amend those or make your own. You want it to say, hey, we're giving you $100 onboard credit, whatever the amenity is. You want your contact information, and if it's for a specific, if it's not something you're just marketing, you want the group leader's information that they can get a hold of you or this person. be careful when you post that on social media. I would take the pricing off of it, and I'll tell you why. You don't want to. All three of them have specific rules. They have marketing guidelines. You want to be very careful. Part of those guidelines have to do with pricing. If one of the cruise lines thinks that you are putting prices out there that are lower than what somebody can go and actually get, which there are times that, especially down the road with some of these, our pricing is going to be ridiculous if they start going skyrocketing here in 6 months. So just be careful about the pricing. I always say, contact me for pricing. Create a file just for the group. You definitely want to do that. I don't care if you do it in your computer. I don't care if you do it in your nice little, if you're old school and you've got file cabinet, you need to make sure that you've got a file. And I actually usually have more than one. I have one in my email where I throw all the emails for the group, all the emails for all of my quotes. I have they have their own files. And then I've also got, of course, everything on my computer, and I create files on my computer just for the group. Schedule a cruise night. Again, if it's something that's not an open promotion, you're just going out and marketing it. And if you can schedule cruise nights like that too, that's wonderful. If you can get businesses or clubs to let you come talk to them. But schedule a cruise night if it's for the gym, like we talked about, the dance studios, the yoga studios. You want to set up a table when they're at their busiest, or if they have a specific date and they're like, hey, we'll get everybody here. So do that, set up a table, make it look nice, make it look very festive. Go grab some of the really cheap leis that you can put, that you put around your neck or whatever. Go to the party store and grab some stuff to decorate your, you want everything to be about cruising. You want it to be fun, and you want them to be like, wow, this is exciting. Door prizes, check with your BDM or the groups department. If you're doing a really nice size group, or even if you're not, but if you're check and see if they've got anything that you could maybe give away. You never know. Some of these BDMs, they stash more stuff. They'll give you, some of them will give you, I've seen beach towels, you name it. I mean, they're not going to give you a free cruise, obviously, but something small, just something to get people excited. And then be ready to take deposits. That's where you want your form. You want to make sure that you've got your flyers. You want to make sure that you've got your notebook and your iPad, whatever you're bringing with you, your computer. Be ready to take those deposits. And this is one of my favorite things, is I create a Facebook group for every group. So I don't care whether it's a cruise or not. I create a Facebook group, and I always have a couple of them typically on my social media anyway. I always make sure to get in touch with them. Say, hey, tell the group leader, add me on Facebook. You definitely want to do that. And then add them to the group and tell them, go add anybody that you've got. And then when they get those people, if you don't see somebody that's in here, go grab them. If it's an open group that you're doing and you're just marketing it, as people ask you, for information, say, hey, I'm going to put you in my group. Everything's in there. And what you do is you create excitement continuously. You can't let this go for months. You can't do this last minute right before they're going to sail. You are going to wonder why people aren't paying their deposits and they're dropping off like flies. If you are always, a couple times a week at least, putting information about the ports, fun excursions that you found, just photos of the beautiful water, the ship, the layout, what the balconies look like, what the suites look like, what the dinners look like. There's so much information on any sailing. I don't care what company it's with. There are videos, there are photos you can get on. Google is your friend, guys. Put it all over that Facebook. And it's an amazing communication tool, especially when you're getting towards the end and you're needing people to tell you who's going to room with who. If they need a hotel, you're trying to track down somebody because you've got everybody's flights except for one or two. You need to know what shore tours everybody's wanting to go on and how many's going to be on each one. This is by far the easiest way to do that. It takes 5 minutes to do a Facebook group. Holding group space. Actually, what I'm going to, so I'll show you here in a second. I'll show you that Facebook group. But here's where it comes down to it. We're gonna actually hold this space. So The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the portal. We're going to check for availability. So you're going to go to groups. You're going to go to group bookings, or just groups in Royal Caribbean and Norwegian. Go in there and play with it. I don't suggest actually, I mean, you can hold it if, I mean, I'm not telling you to hold a bunch of cabins. If you go in there and play with it and you actually create a group, if you're not planning on selling that and you were just playing, please go and delete that group and release those cabins immediately. But you know, playing with something, a lot of us are visual learners. So you're going to check availability, usually over several months. You know, they're going to say, well, I want to go sometime in the spring. You know, you will have those that say we have to go in May, or we have to go one of these 2 weeks, or we found the sailing we want. Can you get us a group on it? Well, that's easy, you know, but then those are always the ones that there's no group availability. That's my experience. So you want to check several months, see what's there, and we're going to start comparing them. All of them have a comparison tool where you can take like up to 3 cruises and it'll put them side by side so you can get an idea of, whoa, this one's way higher. This is a great deal. I get an extra day. I get 6 days instead of 5, and it's almost the same price. If you can be flexible with your dates and your port, it will help tremendously. Yes, it's going to pull up a lot more cruises, but it's also going to give you a lot more options, and you're going to be able to find what you need. Look for agency existing groups. For instance, the ones that we've been speaking of that I did, or that most agencies do this themselves, the actual corporate office will do it. But if you look for existing groups, for instance, if you find out you've got a small group and you're just going to get, you think you're only going to get 8 or 10 cabins, I've got groups that have 50 in them. So by all means, go and just message me. Say, hey, Tammy, I've got a group of 8. You've got a great price on this. And they're really wanting to go around spring break next year. They're wanting to go whenever. They're wanting to go in October. Lord, use that group. Why not? Just use it. It's already set up for you. And those cabins have to be released if we don't use them, guys. So go and look for those existing groups. That'll save you a lot of headache. If you've got 8 cabins, again, you did the work, you get the freebie. Check category availability. Just because we have group space doesn't mean that it has cabins in it. You can go there and I just had this happen time and time again. We just did one the other night. The only thing available were some interior cabins. There were no balconies. There were no ocean views. So you need to check. You might say, oh, this is the perfect cruise. And when you go there, there's nothing. I mean, they've got 4 of this, 2 of this, 8 of this, and it's going to be a lot harder on you. It's going to be a lot harder to sell. Don't grab space. Just find an alternative if you can. Note the deposit amounts and all the dates. It will show you on there. You have got, that's the first thing I do is I start writing. I write down the itinerary. I have my notebook. I write down my itinerary. I write down everything, especially if I'm doing a lot of comparisons. I will sit and go, okay, this one looks good. Now let me go to the next month. Okay, I like this one. And then I'll go back and weed through them and decide what I want. But you want to know when those deposit amounts are, what they are, and what the dates are. Again, you don't want to be asking for deposits of $250 or $150 per person at Christmas time. It's awful. You'll be so frustrated, and you'll do all this work and then people just drop off. Make sure that the sailing allows for amenities. There are sailings that they don't give you gap points, especially, you know, like with Royal Caribbean. I've seen the sailings on Carnival that are limited on the points that you can get. Most of the time they'll let you have whatever you want, but not always. You want to make sure you give them those extras. That's part of why they're wanting to do a group. So, and always hold extra cabins. I say this because if somebody, again, you can only have, with almost all the cruise line, you can only have 2 groups per sailing. Royal Caribbean's 4 actually, but you can have 2 groups per sailing. Well, if you have a really large agency, that's not hard to do. It's very easy to get, especially on the ones that are very popular around spring break, around the holidays, around, you know, early summer, and even in the fall. And October is a great time. So you want to hold extra cabins. If you create a group, hold a few extra. Number one, you never know if you're going to sell them, because you might. I mean, it just takes a couple people saying, hey, we're going on this group cruise. And they're like, we want to go. Happens all the time. But also your agents, we want our agencies to build. And the best way to do that is to think about each other. When we do these things, hold some extra cabins. I may need one. Somebody may need one. And they'll be like, hey, you've got a cabin or you've got a group. Can I book into it? And you're like, heck yeah. I saved, I got 4 or 5 extra this and 4 or 5 extra that. You can always release them. We're going to talk about that. Okay. So once you found your cruise, we went through all of that, you want to decide on amenities and confirm the points that are needed. So if I say, okay, I want $100 onboard credit, but I've only got 4 points and I didn't go and look, then that may only give me a $50 onboard credit. I need to know how many credits I need for what it is I really want for that group. If the group says it's very important to them that they have a bottle of wine, then I want to know how many points that is. If they say that they want a cocktail hour, I want to know how many points that is. Okay, I need 2 for this, 1 for this, 2 for this. And because I have to adjust that. You've got to adjust those points or buy those points. So make sure that you go and you look at that. And then you want to give your group a name. I'll show you exactly where that goes. That's simple enough. And also with the name, if it's a group, if it's an open space, like what I did, like all of mine say Tammy group. And I did that on purpose so that if anybody sees it, they know, okay, that's one of those groups Tammy created. So I've named them all the same thing because they're just an open promotion. If it doesn't say Tammy group, then I've got it there for another reason. And you're welcome to, if I've got extra cabins, to have them, obviously, or to book into it. But you want to make sure that your full name is on that booking. I noticed that we have one, I don't know how it happened, and it's no big deal, but if I just put Tammy on there and I don't put my last name, as your agency grows, or if you're with a large agency, then there could be 50 Tammys. Nobody's going to know what Tammy that is. And it's going to be fun trying to find it. So, you have to dig. You can find it, but you just make sure the full name's on there, and make sure that your email's listed on the booking. Again, with Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, they're really good about that. You can call them, just say, listen, I just need to confirm that my email is placed as the contact. I don't want people contacting my agency. They need to contact me about this group, and they'll fix it. Carnival is the exception to this rule. Again, Lord, I hope they change this. You need to understand that you will not see a contract unless you email it to yourself. It's going to go to your agency. Most agencies will email it to you. Not all agencies will. As the bigger the agency is, the easier it is to lose these emails too. And if Carnival will even send them the updated emails that say, hey, you need to release these cabins, or hey, you've got payments due here this week. And if they don't forward them to you, you don't ever see them. So you need to be watching your groups extremely closely with Carnival, and you need to make sure that you email yourself everything you need, everything. I had a situation last night with one, and it was the same. If I had just happened to go in to look at something else, and I saw that there was a payment due, and I said, I don't have any payments due. They had added a fee because we had changed a name. When I took his final payment a couple of days ago, this is why I give myself space. Yesterday happened to be the actual final payment date. I've had this book since July. They're leaving in May. I gave him his final payment date. For whatever reason, that penalty for changing the name in his group did not show up. So I was showing $12 less than what the full final payment the net final payment, not the commission, the net. He actually owed $200 and some. So that was, I had to call him. I didn't do this. So I didn't even see it till 9 o'clock last night. I got no email because it went to our agency. So you've got to watch it really close. And it's not that I didn't get my final payments in. It's that I didn't realize. So you just have to keep going back and looking at them. Again, email yourself the contract. I'm going to show you. review the contract and calendar all dates. I put them in a paper calendar, a regular, calendar, desk calendar. I put them in my phone, and I just got a new calendar thing for my computer that I haven't done yet, but they are going to be moving to that. But they are on my phone. I get alarms all the time. When I have a deposit due at a certain date, I set an alarm starting 5 to 7 days before that. Every single day I'll get, hey, so-and-so's payments due. Hey, so-and-so's payments due. I know I have when all their payments are due in there, when they're actually leaving on their trip, when they're coming back from their trip, when their flights are. I have everything in there. But when it comes to that contract, you need to make sure also that you put the date that you have to release cabins if they're not taken, if you don't have deposits on them. And tell other agents about your new group availability. Again, we're going to hold extra cabins, or you're going to go and create one that you're wanting to market. Go in your Facebook page, guys. Say, hey, I've got a group. I just wanted to let everybody know I've got a group. I created one on Royal Caribbean or on Norwegian. I've got a few extra cabins, or I created it. I'm marketing it. I'm hoping to get this many. If anybody needs any, let me know. It's there. So by all means, tell everybody. You never know, especially you never know if they've got somebody already in one for Norwegian, or for that sailing for Norwegian or Royal Caribbean. They'll let them move it into that group. In Carnival, if they find somebody that wants that week or doesn't care when it is in May, of course, give them the one that has the great group space. If they don't care what week it is, pick that one and move them, just put them into that group. But you got to tell people about it. They don't know about them, and they can't I always write them down when I find out people have groups. Deposits. This is going to save your sanity, guys. This is so important. I swear this right here is Spirit Airlines. I'm sorry. I always say they make us pay for oxygen. Always collect an initial deposit. Again, Royal Caribbean and Norwegian are a little different. Carnival is very sweet to us to only ask for $25, but it also, in a lot of ways, it creates more havoc. You don't ever tell anybody that Carnival lets you have a $25 deposit. Just don't even tell them about it. I never mentioned the word $25 to anybody. $50 to $100 minimum, or full deposit if you can get it. But $50 to $100, it does a few things. If it's an existing group, again, you're gonna for one or two cabins, you're gonna definitely collect the full deposit. Again, they're expecting it anyway when they call you. They don't know anything about your group. So if there's no initial deposit required, act as if there is. With this promotion that I grabbed all this group space on, there's no initial deposit. It's one of the perks of it, another perk of it. I would never tell anybody that. I'm telling you that, but I honestly don't even tell the agents unless they ask me about it. And there's no reason to ask me, because I'm going to collect it. Like I said, if it was my own child, they're going to pay $50. So even if you make a group that happens to not have an initial deposit, you need to act as if there is one. Even with Royal Caribbean, I'm going to collect $50 to $100 from everybody, and then 30 days, 60 days, whatever, I'm going to collect the rest of it. It gives a commitment. I can say, okay, I've got one of these cabins sold, or at minimum, I'm pretty sure it's sold. I mean, worst case scenario, they don't want to pay the rest of the deposit. If it's a full deposit and it's due within, it's typically due within 30 to 60 days, just if you can collect it up front, do that. It will save you headaches. What does it do for your group? Well, it forces the commitment, like I said. It provides the ability to hold additional unsold cabins longer on Carnival. This is on Carnival. The way that they do it is they say $25 per person initial deposit. That is for one person. So it's $50 per cabin based on double occupancy is what we're going to say. Obviously, if there's 4 people, then it's going to be $100. What it does is for every $25, it's going to save one spot. For every 50, it's going to save a cabin. Okay, for every $50, you're saving a cabin. So if I go and I only collect 8 $25 deposits, that gives me $200. At $200, that allows me to have 4 cabins. Well, that doesn't even give me a group anymore. So if when the initial deposits are due, I don't have but $200, guess what? I don't even have a group anymore. I've got to release the rest of those cabins. But if I collected 50 from everybody, then that gives me $400. It gives me 8 cabins. I've got 4 of them sold, and I get to hold 4 more. I have to release everything else, but I get to hold 4 more. It keeps me as a group, and it gives me longer to market those 4 cabins. I hope that makes sense. It is another main reason that I collect $50 to $100 from everybody. If you were to collect 100, then you're securing 2 cabins for every $100 that you have got. So if you want to make sure that you have marketing time, because after those initial deposits, there's months in between usually, depending on how far out your group is. You've usually got months to market it. Don't collect $25, guys. You're gonna be sorry. But also, people tend to not care about that $25. Now, is it refundable? Technically, if you ask me, no. I tell nobody that. I tell everybody signs, including on their nice little paper that I give them, their cruise form, that deposit's non-refundable. So when you hand me that $50, it's mine. It goes. It's the groups. Let me rephrase that. It goes into that little account that I told you guys about in Carnival. That is a FunShip account, and all of that money goes in there. It shows who paid it. Of course, they don't have rooms yet. They don't have staterooms yet. You haven't actually birthed them yet. They have to pay their full deposit for that to happen. So they've got $50 sitting there towards their full deposit. I'm going to move that money out, like I said. If they decide that they can't go, now granted, I mean, I'm not going to tell you that if something happens, you know, somebody has something medical, or something legitimate happens that they can't go. I'm not going to tell you to keep those people's money. I would never do that. I'm not that type of person anyway. But I am going to tell you that 90% of the time it's because they either think they can't afford it, they changed their mind. It's not because of an emergency. Usually these groups are so far out that they can't really claim an emergency. What I do with that money is I just, like I said, they've already signed something that says it's non-refundable. I take that money and I either use it to benefit the group members by placing it in multiple accounts for the people that are left over. I will buy more amenity points and give them something. I'll buy them, or I'll take it and go to the store there in Carnival and buy them whatever for their room. And it can be used to benefit the agent, because if you have that extra money, if you don't want to disperse it between everybody, you don't want to do gifts, you don't want to give them an extra amenity, whatever, you could go and buy amenity points with it. And there's options for points that will increase your commission. So you can do like a $10 per cabin or $10 per person commission increase. There's various things you can do there. You could decide you want to go on that cruise, and you could take that money and move it over into an account over into your cruise. There's things that you can do. I disperse it between my people, but I'm telling you that it can be done. But you got to make sure that policy's in writing and that they sign it. You want to make sure that they sign that cruise form, that they sign something saying that it's non-refundable. Because if Carnival tells them it's refundable, they're going to lose it, and you're going to say, nope, this is my group, not Carnival's, and everybody agreed to this and you signed it. I've never had that happen, but I've been waiting on it. Contracts. What are you responsible for? You want to email and review this contract that they give you immediately. With Carnival, again, you have to email it to yourself, or you have to go back in there and find it and send it to yourself, save it. It's a PDF. You want to calendar all the dates again. You want to know when you created it, when the initial deposit, final, release date, the sell date, and the cancellations are. All of that needs to be calendared no matter what. And definitely when you need to release cabins for sure. You want to confirm the accuracy of the pricing. You never know. Mistakes are made. You may have actually been comparing and you got the wrong cruise. You don't know. But yeah, you had 3 pulled up there and you thought you clicked on one and weren't paying attention. Whatever. Check everything from head to toe. It's several pages long. It looks more complicated than it is. I literally go through and read everything. And you never know when these cruise lines are going to change their policies. I mean, Royal Caribbean just sent out and changed their guidelines for cancellation. So you just never know when they're going to change something. And you might be reading a contract today and tomorrow it says there's a little, because it's all very small, a little line in there and you're like, what, I didn't see that before. I see something new all the time on them. It's got the commission on there. You want to make sure that's accurate. Agency information's right. You don't want to, some people are with more than one agency, or they have been. So they have multiple accounts. If you have multiple accounts with a cruise agency and you go in and your computer saved your login, or you've got them mixed up in your head and you put in the wrong one, you may not even realize that you've saved a group under an agency, under the other agency that you're no longer with, or that you didn't even want to book it under. Like I said, there are people that are with more than one agency. So just make sure your agency information is correct. That would be awful if you don't work for them anymore and you get your commission goes to them. So you definitely don't want that to happen. If it happens, what you want to do, if none of this is correct, what you want to do is you want to go in, you want to delete that group. If it's something strange, you're like, I've got the right group. This says this contract says this. Just call them. They're wonderful. Call the groups department though. And you want to, your amenity points, just go through it. Never provide. I never ever in a million years would give a client the exact deposit and final payment dates. I will amend. Again, I send everything to myself before I send it to my client. So if they have a receipt coming to them for a payment, it comes to me. I have been known to amend those. I will not, if it's got a date on it for a final or a deposit, they don't ever know that date. They know the date I give them, which is always going to be 7 to 10 days prior to that. So if my final deposits are due on 2/14, I am going to tell them 2/4. That's the last day that they're allowed to give me their final deposits or their full deposits. If their final date is on April 22nd, I'm going to tell them April 12th. Always. It saved me last night. It just saved me last night. Had I not done that, his cruise that he's had booked since July could have actually have gotten canceled. Now, do I think that, I think that Carnival easily would, he was in a suite. So yes, I do think that Carnival could have possibly and very likely would have canceled his cabin over $12. And it was literally over $12. So, and I wouldn't have even known it because those emails don't come to me unless I go in there and send them myself. So, calendar the dates that you gave the client. I do that all the time. I have to think. They'll call me, when does it do it? In my head, I've got it. I know what that screen says, but I know that I've also, if you're going to tell them 7 days, tell everybody 7 days. And if it's going to be 10 days, I tell them 10, because 10 is easy for me to figure out in my head. So I tell everybody 10 days. And if you put it on your calendar, you can go, hold on just a second, and you can actually look, and you've got those alerts coming up, and it's on your calendar what you told them. Release any cabins not sold at minimum 1 to 2 days prior to cutoff. I usually do it even more than that, unless I know, or I think, or I've gotten a phone call or something that somebody says, I'm giving it to you on Thursday. Then I'll wait. But I don't wait till the day of. I don't ever want to take the chance of not releasing cabins and getting penalized, because you have to understand, in Carnival's head, they've got 25, not 50 towards every cabin. Like they're looking at what's in that pot. They're not looking at what you actually know you've sold. They can't read your mind. So if you're holding 8 cabins, then they think you've got that many people, that you took $25 from each one of those people. When in reality, you only took it from 4. So you need to release those other 4, or you can be penalized and you have to pay it out of pocket. That $50 was not yours to begin with. It belonged to somebody over here that paid their initial deposit. So that has to be credited to their account as soon as they pay their final deposit. And you've got 4 cabins over here that will have 0 for it. So guess what Carnival's going to do? They are going to penalize you because you went over that final or that initial deposit date. So make sure that you release them. I can't stress it enough. If you're holding unsold cabins and you don't release them, again, it's your responsibility. You get to pay out of pocket for all the penalties on each cabin that you didn't sell. Okay, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to show you a contract. My goodness. All this stuff here. Okay. And I'm going to show you a booking real quick. Okay, I want to make sure that I was that it was actually showing up. Let's just go to Carnival here. See, guys? I've got more than one account. Okay. I'm going to show you where to go. Okay, so here's my screen, and it's create a booking and manage a booking. Manage a booking is if you've already got it booked, obviously. You're going to go there if you need an individual stateroom or if you have a group booked. But we want to create one this time. So we're going to go, and we don't want to do a group stateroom. That's if you're going to book into a group. Okay, or you're going to book a cabin that you don't have held. So in other words, you don't really see suites that they'll let you hold. But for instance, I had to book into my own group for this one that I have in May. I have 3 people that wanted suites. So I had to go to group staterooms and book them into the group because I had nothing held that was what they wanted. So I'm going to go to group bookings. And here's where you can say, okay, we're going to do a roundabout here. Let's go. I know I've got some in March. Let's just say March 1st, because that next year, of course, is the spring break time. What type of group do y'all want? For instance, this Leap into Group Savings promo, that was the promotion I was telling you about. That ended on the 29th. They still have it here. If I click on that and go search, it's going to say that it can't find anything because that promotion has ended. So just be aware of your promotions when you see something like that. And when they ended, don't get excited and think you're going to be able to still get it, because you can't, unless they extend it, obviously. But I had somebody the other day call me about that. And I was like, nope. So we're going to do an infinity. Here's the open promotion. We're going to do an infinity. You know what I want to do? Let's do this. Let's see what Vista's got, because I've actually got somebody that wants to go on Vista. So we're going to go to Carnival Vista. Normally I go over here and I just pick Caribbean. Caribbean will get you the Bahamas. It's pretty all-inclusive. It's going to get you Western, Eastern, Southern, and the Bahamas. But in this case, I really do want to see what Vista's got. So 6 to 9 days, that's the only option it's given me. A lot of times all 3 are highlighted. Pick what you want. Port. It only goes out of Miami, but a lot of times you've got, if I just picked Caribbean, it would give me all these ports here. Unless I need a specific port, I like to check them all. So we're just going to do Miami. And then you've got the fun points. Yeah, I want all sailings, but typically there's fun points that are allowed. And it tells you right here, minimum of 8 staterooms. Okay, so here's what we've got next March in 2017 for the Carnival Vista. what I can do is I can go right here to compare, and I can just say 3, 5. It shows me we don't have any in our agency right now. We have nothing booked, no groups booked. Right here, fun points. Look, this one's a no, and I can tell you why, because I guarantee that that's spring break at minimum. That's spring break, if I'm not mistaken, for colleges. So they have locked that sailing down for whatever reason. It could be, there's different things. Somebody may have practically bought out the whole ship. Who knows? This one right here, I'll show you the ship, just like we did last week. Let's see where the Southern Caribbean's going. So here's, you click on there, it'll show you exactly where it's going. And then pricing. So that's an 8-day. Now it starts at $9.19, guys. But look here at the 6-day. Boy, that's nice. It's a Western. Let's see where it goes. Okay, so it's Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Cozumel. This is a good one. That a lot of people like this particular one. If I wanted to compare, I can click up to 3 of these. Okay, and come down here where it says compare. It will put them, let's just do that. It'll put them side by side. Or I can just click select to the right if I know that's the one I want. Okay, so here it is. Up here, it's got your information. Right here, it tells me fun points. It's got 3. Now, I can modify this. Okay. And say I want 5. And then I can click calculate. And it's going to add $12 to everything because I went, well, yeah. It added $12 to everything because I went up to, it's $6 per one. And so this is, I typically do not do this until I actually save the group. I'm just showing you it can be done. So you can see the pricing with it. Just know $6 per point. So it added 12. So I'm going to go here. Where's my? Yeah. So I like this one. I like this one a lot. And look what else. Like this one has no 4Ds. Okay. But look at the pricing on it. Wow. And then it's got, this one has balconies. It's got interiors. But look what it doesn't have. I'm not showing any ocean view. I'm not showing any. This one has 2 interiors that are already taken up. There's no availability. So we're going to do create a group booking. And let's just say, nope, no ocean view, guys. So if you think that ocean view is going to be important to a group or whatever, now you can always book into it. It doesn't mean there's no ocean views on the ship. It means there's none available for groups. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come up here and I'm going to name this. Okay, so let's name it Tammy Group. I've got 5, but let me see. I want to give them at least $100 onboard credit. So I'm going to click. Did you see what I just did? I clicked right here on Fun Points, and it pulls this up. I suggest if you're going to deal with Carnival, save this somewhere so that you can look at it. You can just save this form. So it gives you some information. But what I do is I just scroll down here, and here's my Fun Points. And it tells me every option that I have. Here's bathrobes, group photo appointment, wine, the cocktail party. Now, you can get a private cocktail party if you have 50 staterooms or more. And so they've got the premium cocktail party. So I'm just looking here. Right here is an extra $20 per person for 3rd and 4th rates. So if you have a lot of cabins that you know you're going to be putting 3 and 4 people in, you're not really going to get any commission on that, you might as well say, because theirs is so low and it's basically non-commissionables. So you could do, we have a 6-day. We're going to go right here. It's going to tell me 6 days. If I wanted to do 20 extra, I'd have to have 3 points. I have to use 3 of my 5. Or I'd have to up the points. I could up it to 8 and I'd get 20. I've never done that. Here's the fundraiser one. It's going to tell you right here. It's 5 points. And then Carnival matches that. Onboard credit. So we need, I want 100. I've got a 6-day, bam, 5 points. So I was right. So that's perfect. If I had 4, I would just bump it. I would just bump it up 1 more. Here's the upgrades, and then the bonus commission I was telling you about. If you had like money in that account where people had flaked and decided not to go and they just gave you their 50 bucks, happens all the time, then you could come and say, okay, I want a bonus commission of $25 a stateroom or $50 a stateroom. It'll tell you right here how many points you need for that. So if you have enough money in there, you could actually bump that up, and then you take that $50 and you divide it between everybody to cover those fun points, and they never even know about it. Your clients never even know about it. So, and then there's an agent rate stateroom. That's two. That's for to get an agent stateroom at agent rates. So we're good there. So let's decide. What do we want? Let's do. Okay, this is telling me the balconies have a quad and a triple. This rate that you see right here, okay, guys, this is not with all cost involved. If I go on here and click, 571 looks awesome. I know we've talked about this before, but you've got your cruise rate, you've got your non-commissionables, and you've got your miscellaneous. This rate of 571 includes the first 2. Okay, you need to add 119 to that. And I'm going to show you what it does. So just know that. Just know in your head, each one of these needs another $119 added to it. So there's $10 here. I'm going to do, oh, who wants an interior room? It makes me sick. On Vista, I can't even imagine. But, okay. You never know. So then I'm going to come up here. Let's see how much the balconies are. So they're $891 and $119. It's always $119. So 9, yeah, that's. So let's do. Let's do 8 of these. 8 of these. Change my mind. Do 16 each. And it tells me right here that I can still do another 10. Okay. I'm not going to push my luck here. I don't like these interiors, and I don't know if people are going to want ocean views because they don't want an interior, but you know, a balcony may be too much for them. So then I'm coming over here, and the payment date and deposit amount. So it's telling me $25. Okay, is due on 5/9, okay, of this year, and then that's where that not having an initial deposit on that promotion came in so handy, because I didn't have to worry about doing this within 60 days. It's going to tell me that I'm looking here, so I know that my first payment is going to be on 5/9. So let's save this and continue it. It tells me my flex points, it tells me this, and then I've got 40 cabins. Here's the pricing, stateroom request, and here's your guidelines. It's going to have 5/9, $25 a person. Obviously, I'm going to do at least 50. On Vista, I may do 100. Because I tell you what, this rate next year is not going to be what you're looking at right now. 10/6 is when the full deposit of $250 per person's due. Obviously, I'm going to tell them 9/28 or whatever, 9/30. And then the full payment's due on 12/20. Here's a perfect example. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell them that final payment's due on 12/1. If I want this bad enough, I'm not telling them 12/10. I'm telling them 12/1. If you can catch them right before Thanksgiving, that's the best thing to do, because they're going to go Black Friday shopping if they don't. Over here under cancellation guidelines, it tells me, okay, if they cancel on or before 12/21, it's the full deposit. The 110, it's 50%, 75, and then full penalty. So that's what it's telling me there. And then here's the complimentary policy. 1 berth for every 15 full fares. So I get one free for every 15. This is telling me that it's your typical. So I get one person for every 8 cabins, pretty much. So I just need to look, and that could be different. So there's that. So we're just going to say yes. I'm going to go back, guys, and cancel this one because, well, I may. Here, it gave me a group booking. Once I hit those terms and conditions, I've got a group booking. You're going to write that down. Please write that down. You can print your confirmation for this. You can edit. If you misspelled your name, your group name, then you can always edit that. You can add, look right here, you can actually decide, you know what, instead of $100, I think I'm going to give them $100 and a bottle of wine. So I need to change my fun points. Check your guidelines again. And then all of this down here is so important. If you want to make a payment, you would go to make payments. See this fund ship pay? You would click on that. Once there's money in there, it will also say transfer or dispense. So you've got your booking number here. Then you just go to submit. You can search payments that are due. Like right here, it's telling me 3 are due. That's what happened last night, and I was like, what? So anyway, you can search to see if you've got payments due. You can say, okay, they're going to pay with a credit card, and you can click submit. Oh, it didn't have the booking number in there. I'm sorry. So then you would click submit, and you would put in their information and how much they're paying, $50, $100, whatever. As long as it's not the full amount of the deposit, then you're good. If it's a full amount of the deposit, then you want to go pick them a stateroom. You don't want to put it in fund ship pay. Fund ship pay is for the initial deposits, okay? So let's go back. That's where you make your payments, and again, it'll have also the option to disperse that money, and you'll go and pick who you want it to go to once they pay their final payment. You can modify the booking right here. I can increase the number of cabins if I think I need more interior. As long as they're available, they'll let me increase it or they'll let me decrease it. Decrease it is where you let go of these cabins. You can ask to extend the payments. I can tell you on the initial deposits. You better call them. Just call them, because when it comes at the final deposits, boy, that's a nightmare. I mean, you better do some fast talking. Now, the final payments, they will usually, but it totally depends on how full the ship is. I've had to talk to supervisors to get just a couple of days, and other times it's like super easy. So sometimes you can extend it here. Most of the time you have to call. I can modify. I can decide that I don't want to do a $100 payment. I can click modify amenities. It'll let me do that. So if I want to decrease the request, I'll just click here. And then I've got one more thing in here I think I want to show you, and then we'll be done. And I can change this. Okay, so I can say, well, you know what? I'm not going to sell that many, so let's just do 8. And then I can do save and continue. Right here, guys, if I forget to send this to myself, okay, then I want to go to, or when I'm ready to send the contract, I want to go to reports, statement of group request. That's your contract. Might want to make a note. That's your contract. And the detailed workup, that'll be but their document status, it's not good. They're not going to have any documents right now. So also, once there's payments made and that kind of thing, some of this can change, or like I just decreased. This contract's going to look different right now than what it did 2 minutes ago before I decreased those cabins. 2 minutes ago, my contract would have said 16 8Cs. Now it's going to show 8. So when I hit statement, this is what you're going to save. So we're going to save this. You're going to go through here. It's going to tell you everything. Dining, everything, guys, everything. The terms and condition, the cancellation, the minors. This is what I was telling you about 21. Under 21 years old, they have to have somebody 25 or older with them. And it also goes into length about over 12, they can be beside them or across the hall. It goes into all that. Know that rule for sure. It's got their address. So it's going to have, there's your itinerary, everything that you picked. And look here, $52,000, 59 total $1,000 is what I have saved worth of staterooms. So you're going to go through here, you're going to check these dates, you're going to write them down. Again, you're going to write them down, write them down 5 places if you have to. Cancellation, you need to know this. Don't just send this to yourself and go, I'll look at it later. All of this is on here. It breaks it down. It tells you what your commission is. Commission's always towards the bottom, and so on and so forth. If we did air, then that would be here. If we did it through Carnival, if we did additional packages or any kind of transports or anything like that, that would be on there. So I'm gonna save this, okay? Otherwise, the agency's the only one who's gonna have it, and if they don't send it to me, I don't see it. Guest list is when you actually start giving them staterooms. You can pull up the guest list. It will have each individual stateroom there and the people that are in it. Birth guest. If I want to put somebody into this group, this is that's either I need to put them in a different category than what I've got saved, or say this is somebody else's group, and I want to go and I want to book into it. I'm going to click on birth guest. I can actually go to this and look at this. I can look at anybody's group in my agency, but you can click on birth guest and go there and do it. It's going to show the booking. You're going to do it just like you would a normal booking. You put their state of residence in here. You're going to, if they're military, all that good stuff, just like you're doing a regular booking. Interline rates, travel agent rates cannot be, they don't qualify for group amenities. You can book them into the group, but they don't qualify for group amenities. And it's going to show my group right here. Okay. But then it's got all of these. If you look, supports, amenities, and comps. Supports. Comps does not support amenities. So you guys have to realize that you want to always make sure that if you're going to book into one of these categories, that they support that $100 payment or whatever we've got. Now I can come here and I can say, I'm just going to, Tammy's got all these cabins. I think I'm going to look and see what 8B comes out to. Hit quick quote. I can send this to my client right here. I'm going to send it to myself, obviously, first, and then forward it. But here's my total. Agent view is going to show me, once again, we did this last week. It's going to show me my commission. And then I could do save and continue, but right here, look what it does. It tells me if I want to pick a stateroom, I've got to pay the full deposit, okay? So if I want a stateroom, I have to pay this full deposit. My final payment date's the same as the group, but this person, if I want to pick their stateroom, if I want to give them a suite, if I want to give them a balcony or an ocean view that we don't have saved, they have to pay the full deposit. And that's what I tell people. I can get them for you, but you're just going to pay more up front. So that's that. If you're booking into my group, then you do that. If you want to, if the group is past, the deposit dates and all that, then you can just go and find one. If they've got a big sale, go and find this early saver supports amenities and comps. Okay, so I can hit select. It's not always what it's cracked up to be though. Now that's a non-refundable deposit on an early saver, and the 1A is going to be a guaranteed rate. We don't sell those. We don't want those. So actually, it's the same price as my group. If you look at that. Okay. So yeah, we're not gonna do 1As. Not an option for anybody. I wouldn't wish that on my worst nightmare. Okay. So I think that's it. So make sure you write down your booking numbers. Make sure you tell everybody about them, and that's that for that part. Now, where is? Okay. So here we are. Now comes the fun part. what? Let me make sure again. Okay, we're good. I'm always scared I'm not sharing after that one. If that's confusing to you guys, I'm gonna have some videos. I'm gonna show you just a video that does nothing but shows you how to book into these groups, or book, excuse me, I've actually already started the one to book into groups. I'll have that up probably tonight. I got a little busy. I apologize. I promised you guys that and didn't get it done yesterday. But I'm going to have it where you actually can see how to create a group, excuse me. Okay. So, oh, come on. We were actually getting somewhere. Sorry. I knew this was going to be a big one. Okay, the add-ons and the extra, this is where the real work begins. The cruise is nothing. If they, especially if they need to fly or whatever. So insurance, I told you that I don't typically do the cruise line insurance. I usually use Travel Guard. I use CSA if there's any pre-existing conditions. I understand our agency's almost done with a contract with them, I think. But pre-existing conditions, understand. I have a client right now going in May, and he has cancer, and this is like, he's literally like, this is all he wants is to take his family on this cruise, and we've been working on this all year. You better believe that I had to be very careful, and I worked for months on just the insurance policy has honestly been worse than the entire cruise. So, but I save people so much money right here, guys. I mean, look at the prices. Just look at them. You're going to be shocked at what they want. And I also want to make sure that they have good coverage amounts, and it covers everything, including their flights, their hotels, their transfers, anything that they spend money on. If they need it reimbursed because they can't go, I want to make sure they can do that. Gratuities, make sure that you tell them, that gratuities are not included, that they can prepay it. It's a little simple checkbox in Carnival that they can prepay them. Yes, they run specials sometimes on Royal Caribbean, and especially on Norwegian, that include that. So they can, the first thing they're going to do is add that to their ship credit or their ship account when they check in. So they need to know that. They need to know how much they're per person, typically $12.50 a day per person. Don't let them be surprised by that. Dining on Royal Caribbean and Carnival, you've got multiple options. They're still a little old school, especially Carnival. You've got early, late, and then my time. So you want to make sure that that you ask them, do they want to dine together? If it's a group that's a promotional group like we were talking about, it doesn't really matter anyway. You want to ask each person what they want. Your gut reaction is to do my time, but then if they want to dine together, they may not get it. It may take them forever to get a table. And Norwegian, of course, doesn't have that. They're just freestyle. So specific group related arrangements, meetings, corporate meetings, business meetings, whatever. If they want to have on the ship, you need to call the groups department and reserve meeting space. You need to get times. You need to make sure that is done. Don't tell them to take care of that when they get on the ship, because it won't happen. I mean, they'll be dancing around going, well, you don't even know what's going on that ship. You better call the group department as soon as you know. Don't wait last minute. You could have 10 corporations on there. You never know. And there's never a meeting room. That would upset a group if that's very important to them. Activities, for instance, we are doing the yoga cruise, and our intention is to have multiple instructors. So I have to call the groups department and arrange for them to have an area in the mornings and the evenings to do yoga up on the deck. So I want to do that. If there's enough, as long as you've got enough people, they'll do just about anything for you. Special dinners if they all want to dine together. The cocktail parties, obviously. You want to make sure that, where they need to be, when they need to be there, all those things. And of course, weddings, weddings is a whole thing in itself. They do a really good job with them though on these ships. They've got it pretty perfected. Shore excursions. This is me, not saying this is the right way to do anything. There's multiple companies that, yes, they pay commission, but they'll have they've been doing this forever, and they cater to the cruise industry clients. They're waiting on you when you get there. They give you everything you need to find them, to locate them, and they get you back on time. The thing I like about that is I don't care if it's one client or, a couple going, or if I've got a group of 50. I like to book their, well, I take that back, not a group of 50, because the cruise line will help me with that one. But if I've got a group of 30, let's say, I like to book their shore excursions if they want them through outside of the cruise companies. I'm probably the rare, just for me to speak that, you hear people, I know everybody does it, all these agents do it, but nobody for some reason wants to speak about it. And same thing with insurance. I don't know. This is me, and I want them to have a private, I want them to have a good time. Number one, they're typically a little cheaper. Number two, the cruise line has done better lately, but they're a little cheaper. But the main thing is they're private to semi-private. If you've got 6 people, most of the time it's a private tour. Instead of having 150 people on the tour, it's insane the amount of people that they put in these excursions off these ships. So they love you for this. Yes, you need to get it together and you need to give it to them, but my goodness, it's so worth it. You're going to get your commission, and they're going to come back extremely happy. Onboard beverage, if they want the specialty dining, the Wi-Fi, the onboard beverage package, you need to tell them about these things. Don't let them get on the ship and then go, what do you mean it's $55 a day if I want, all you can drink alcohol, and everybody over 21 in my cabin. My husband doesn't drink. Well, sorry, if you get it and there's somebody over 21 in that cabin, they have to buy it as well. Those are things you need to know, and those are things that you absolutely have to tell your clients. So arrange those things for them. Tell them about them early on. Just make sure that you've got all that stuff taken care of, and that they're not surprised by any of it. The Wi-Fi too, big one. Pre and post cruise, flights, hotels. Flights are pretty, self-explanatory. You need to get them from point A to point B. Here's the big thing. If they are driving a long distance or flying, you do not ever, 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 under any circumstances, bring that client in the same day as the cruise. Don't do it. It is asking for nothing but trouble. I don't care how much insurance they've got. They want to go on this cruise. So I don't care who it is. You don't do it. We talked about this last week. Same thing with groups, especially with groups. Get them flights the night before. If they want to come and go to Disney for a couple of days, then get them flights 3 days before. It doesn't matter. Hotels, all of the ports have hotels that are cruise friendly. I have a list that I use. If anybody needs a couple of suggestions, I'll be happy to give it to you. Google's also your friend. You can find them like crazy there. You can find them in EasyBook. You can find them, they're all over the place. But you can Google them and then go to your vendors, and you've narrowed down which ones you want to look at. I have some in Fort Lauderdale that I use all the time. I use the ones in Fort Lauderdale even for my Miami clients, because so many fly into Fort Lauderdale. It's so much cheaper. So I've got the transfers. Not cheap through the cruise line. It's typically about $30 to get them, or $35 to get them from the airport to the port. I've got a transfer company in Fort Lauderdale that's wonderful. They charge $15 whopping. If it's a group over 5, I believe it is, maybe 6, 5, then it's $13 a person. They will take them from Fort Lauderdale, pick them up at their hotel, as long as the hotel's on their list. They will take them to the Miami cruise port. They will bring them back to Fort Lauderdale Airport. And they're wonderful. They call to make sure you're there. They tell you what time they're going to pick you up. I save my clients so much money doing that. If they're driving, I help them with parking. I've got parking lots at all these ports that I use. So, and actually there's one in Port Canaveral that pays commission, believe it or not. and they're so, I mean, who's going to pay 25, whatever it is, crazy amount of money at the port when you've got secure facilities where they can get it? Theme park tickets, tours, dining, if they want to all go out to dinner the night before, you want to try to arrange those things for them. They don't need to be there wandering around on the street or begging somebody at the desk to tell them where they can get a bite to eat. Give them that. Just have it planned out the way that you would plan your own vacation. Okay, support, guys. Who, where, and when. Please ask for help. I don't care. Just ask for help. Nobody's beyond that. I don't care if you've been an agent for a million years. If you're not used to doing groups, or you've never done Carnival, or you usually do Norwegian, if I find out somebody's doing a ton of Norwegian groups, I'm going to go to them. Don't think I'm beyond asking for help. I'll call you in a second. Your agency should have support. Most agencies do. Make sure that you reach out to them and find out, find out if the agency is going to send you the Carnival emails. Are they going to guarantee you that they're going to do? They're probably not going to guarantee it. I can tell you, especially the bigger they are. They miss them. It's not their fault. I just wish Carnival would change it. Fellow agents, again, reach out, and this is not just for cruises. If you know somebody does Europe or European cruises or river cruises or whatever, and you've never done one, call them. They'll give you hints that you can't even imagine. Cruise line group department, they're usually great, and most of them have a groups area just for travel agents. So you can call them, you can ask them for favors, you can ask them to do special things. If you have a big enough group, they'll do just about anything. The cruise line specific training, you can always go to it. Go and take the training. Start with one and work your way through. If you need to know, you can go back in there and get your questions answered. The BDM. Okay, this is the one I want to talk about. Your BDM is a great support and resource for you. You don't want to bother your BDM if you don't have to. That's my opinion. And most of them are very gracious, and they'll say, call me anytime. They are very extremely busy. They have thousands of agents that they deal with, or hundreds, whatever. It's usually thousands. You want to call them. What I call a BDM for is if I have an issue that I can't resolve, the groups department hadn't been able to help me, I haven't been able to find the answer anywhere, it's a very odd situation, whatever. That's my last stop is my BDM. If I have something, an unconventional group or arrangements I need to make, and you'll know when it's time for this, where the groups department says, oh, we can't do that. Maybe you can talk to your BDM, or it's a very unique situation. Maybe I need a couple cabins that they can't give me. Maybe I need, Carnival's only going to be able to give me 50 and I need 55 or whatever. They'll typically do that, but there are some times, and you will know when it's appropriate, that a BDM is going to be the only person that can pull some strings for you. But you want a relationship with them. You want to introduce yourself to them, especially if you're doing a lot of groups. They're going to love you and they're going to remember you. So you definitely want to know them. Just don't call them, hey, I've got a group to book. Can you tell me if you've got any cabins on May, whatever? No. If you can find it elsewhere, you can get the answer to it, or you can call and get an answer. Don't bother them with that. Bother them when it's important, and they'll bend over backwards for you. Travel agent groups, again, the Facebook groups I talked about last week. I think I've talked about them a couple of times, but just be careful. Go in there, use it as a resource. Just be careful about making it appear that you're trying to get them. They don't want to do your work for you. They want to be helpful, but they don't want to do your work for you. You can't go in there and ask. If you can find it on Google, or you can search in the group. There's a search bar there, guys, and get your answer. But if it's something odd or something you think you need to share with them, do that. But just stay professional, because they can be a little hard on us sometimes. And Google is your friend. I promise you, if you can't find it the first time, change the wording up a little bit and you'll find it. You'll find the answer. Group, okay, the VIP service we talk about. You need to go the extra mile. A lot of this I've already talked about. Post to that Facebook group regularly. Provide them information on all the ports so they know what to expect and what's there. Some ports have more than others. Some of them are, it's practically nothing but a cruise ship there and a little beach. So give them a list of those short excursions that you can offer them and tell them, hey, guys, let me get you some short excursions that are usually a little cheaper, and they're definitely more private. Double check all of your arrangements. You want to make sure that you did set up dining up for everybody. You want to make sure that the hotels everybody's got their room and they know who they're staying with. They actually paid for their hotel. Everybody's got flights and they know what flight they're going to be on. I mean, all these things that you would do for yourself. Transfers, don't forget to set those up and don't wait until the day before to do it. Forward your clients' cruise packing list. I've got a cruise packing list. It's wonderful. They can pick what they want, but a lot of people have never been on a cruise, so it really helps them. Supply a cruise do's and don'ts list. You want to you want to explain to them if they do feel like they're getting seasick, what some of the remedies are, what they can do to kind of prevent that. You want to tell them about the patches they can put behind their ear instead of trying to get an expensive one off the ship, because they do have them. You want to know what your dining etiquette and dress code is for that ship. Every cruise line's different. They don't need to be going to dinner in blue jeans if blue jeans aren't allowed. So make sure that they know that, and that they know where they can always go to the buffet, but if they want to eat in certain restaurants, maybe there's a dress code. You want to tell them, hey, there's going to be a captain's ball or there's going to be a gala. Every cruise line has different. Again, look those up. Go find out what Royal Caribbean's completely different from Carnival and vice versa. So go find it. Don't let them be surprised and embarrassed. If they're going to Royal Caribbean and they're a little, one night they need to be more dressed. I mean, there are cruise lines, guys, that they aren't allowed to be in shorts after a certain time in public areas. I mean, you need to know these things. Print the documents and the luggage tags. At minimum, if you can't get them printed and get them to them in time, then at minimum walk them through how to do that online. It's a simple process. All the cruise lines have a nice setup there, but you want them to know that they've got to print those, and they need to know about luggage tags, because cruises are a little different where you print your own luggage tags. Provide a detailed itinerary for each passenger, and you want it to have some maps on it. I've got a beautiful system that I use, and it's got everything, and it tells them from the time that they leave their house until they walk back in their door where they need to be, anything that's scheduled, how to find the transfers, who's transferring them, what shore tour it is, where they're going to be, where that person's going to be to meet them. If they need to take a taxi to go to a shore tour, it's going to tell them everything they need to know. They're going to know what port they're going to be in what day. You also want to make sure they understand that the ship time and the port time can be different, and that typical, the ship's always on ship time. You want to provide a list of restaurants and shopping options. If they are going beforehand, you want them to at least know what restaurants are close by to their hotel, because they're probably not getting a rental car. If they don't have a vehicle, they need to know where they can eat, especially if they're getting in early, and even what shopping options are right there, what they can do for the day, or if they're going for a couple days before or after. You want to confirm all those requests, and you want to make sure that they're noted. If they have dietary restrictions, call the groups department and make sure that they documented that. They'll tell you they did. I always follow up before these people sail, always. Medical and medical equipment, you need to do that beforehand. Don't wait until the last minute. There's a company that I use that will actually deliver scooters and other medical equipment to the ship. It'll be waiting for them when they get there. They're really, really good. Arrange for thank yous in the cabins. You don't want to be rushing around. Oh my gosh, so-and-so sailing tomorrow and I don't have strawberries or whatever it is you're going to do. If you're planning on doing that for them, and you want to confirm that all the passengers have the proper documents. We talked about this last week. The birth certificates, they want copies of their insurance policies, everything. Believe it or not, if they're a single, if they're not the custodial parent, they really need to get for in case something happens, they need to get a notarized. I have a form for that they can get notarized saying, hey, yeah, I know mom's taking them or I know dad's taking them, and I'm good with that. They're not, kidnapping my child. Vouchers for their shore tours, their tickets for their flights and everything. You just need to confirm all that stuff. And then follow up. That is how you get, you can do all of this. And if you don't do this, you may not get a call back. You could break your back and they may not call you, or they may not send you referrals. Hopefully that doesn't happen. All you got to do is give them a day to get back. Give them a couple of days to get unpacked, get settled. Send them an email and glad you made it back. Can't wait to hear how good it was. And then call them a couple of days later. Send them a postcard. You can get postcards with their ship on it from 90. I think all of the vendors. Actually, I've got stacks of them. Send them everybody a thank you and a postcard. This is the bad part that I was talking about. The dealing with the multiple personalities. Multiple personality types, let me say. A lot of this is common sense, guys. I mean, we do this every day, and we deal with it with somebody just booking a hotel. But when you have a group, you tend to have a better chance of having somebody that is a little hard to deal with. And it may just be that your personality and theirs don't mesh. Believe it or not, not everybody loves everybody. So let them have as much or as little control as they need. A lot of the problem is on group cruises, especially with an agent involved, you've got that one or two people that they don't like somebody else doing their stuff for them. I would be that person. Now, I'm not going to be nasty to somebody. I just know how I am about my trips. Hence the reason I'm a travel agent. It's hard for them to let go. So if they want to go and look up hotels and say, I saw this for whatever, let them do it. Let them forward you those messages. Don't get in an argument with them and tell them it's your job, for them to stay out of it. It's the worst mistake you'll ever make, because it'll make them 10 times more. They're like children when it comes to that. It'll make them 10 times more likely to get even worse. They'll get even worse with it. Ask for their opinion. It doesn't mean that you're going to follow it. A lot of people just want to be heard. Ask them for their opinion. That's a great idea. Let me talk to a few people and see what they think. We're in a group. We've got to make sure that everybody's on the same page. You may think they're crazy, but you don't tell them that. You ask them for their opinion. Give them options when at all possible. If they're upset because everybody's wanting to go on one shore tour, think through it. You know that they enjoy whatever, or they're the type of person that would love to do this versus this. Think through it. You never know what you can come up with that will satisfy them. Maybe the group gives a little bit and does something that they want to do. It's just you're wrangling. It's like wrangling cats. But you give them options and just try to keep them happy. Please provide them all foreseen cost up front. And the reason I say this is because they don't need to find out that gratuities are $12.50 per person per day. They don't need to find out that there's a drink package that's not cheap. They don't need to find, all of these things. It is a cruise is very economical. It's a great option for a vacation, but there are other costs involved. They need to know that they have to pay for shore excursions if they want them. They need to know that Wi-Fi cost. A lot of people, this right here, this will get you every time. People that are just as nice as they can be, you give them that one extra cost after you keep throwing something else at them every other week or every month or whatever. And they think that they've got especially when they think they've got it paid off or they're getting ready to make their final payment, and they find out, well, they've still got to pay for a hotel. They've still got to have a drink package if they want it. You can't do that. That right there will set people off faster than anything. I'm not saying throw it all at them the first day, but you need to give it to them at the beginning, somewhere towards the beginning. Get your group leader involved. If you're having problems with a couple people or whatever, talk to your group leader. That's what they're there for. Hopefully they know them. They can give you some advice, or they can help handle them. That's what they're there for. Keep documentation of everything. The nicest person in the world, you never know what's going to happen. You don't need a credit card to come back and them say that you did something you weren't supposed to do, or charge something you weren't supposed to, or that you didn't tell them something. You didn't tell me that was non-refundable. Well, here's your signature. You keep everything, and communicate via email when possible. If it's in writing, they can't say you didn't tell them. So make sure that even if you talk to them on the phone, you follow up with an email. Treat everybody like a VIP client. I don't care how hard they are to get along with. I'm telling you, if you do this, this will solve a lot of things. Because even if you've got one or two that are acting not so nice, you're going to have a whole rest of the group that loves you because of this. They see how hard you're working. They see what you're doing for them. And they're going to, typically, they're going to put them back in line. They're going to help you get them back in line, and you didn't even ask them to. And don't bend the rules. You can't bend the rules for one and not all of them. You can't tell this person that they can have, that they can put down $25 and everybody else puts down $50 or $100. You can't tell somebody that you're going to give them a free shore excursion, but you don't give everybody one. You can't bend the rules. You just can't. If somebody needs extra time paying on something, then you tell them that you're going to see if you can get them an extension. Don't tell them that they've got 10 more days. Don't tell them that. Tell them you're going to get them an extension. But just don't bend the rules for people, because you're going to get people hot, and they're going to, the people like to be treated equally. And keep your word. If you tell somebody you're going to call them, you better call them. If you tell them you're going to email, you better email. If you tell them that you're going to apply a payment on a certain day, by all means, put it in your calendar, put it in your phone, make the payment. Whatever it is, you keep your word. It doesn't matter what it is. And kill them with kindness. That's the best advice I can give you on that one. Okay, here's the money. We're almost done, I promise. Stay organized and have a system in place. That's what I've been talking about this whole time. If you stay organized and you have a system in place, I'm going to tell you right now, your commission on a group divided by the number of hours that you have actually working in it. I'm not saying that they're few, because they're not. There's a lot to it. But it's definitely going to equal out to more money per hour. I can promise you that, especially if you're organized and you have a system. So before you book a group, or before you start booking into a group, go and get these forms. Get them all ready. So all you have to do is change a couple of things, and bam, you've got them ready for the next group. You also have benefits like free bursts. If you don't give that to the group, or if it's a promotional group like what I'm doing, or you're just promoting it, that berth is yours. You can take it in cash towards your, like, as an extra commission. You can use it if you want to go on that sailing. And if somebody wants you to come with them, to help them, that you've got a large group and you need to be with them, or they think that you need to be with them to help wrangle everybody at every port and help with excursions and getting everybody in order and keeping everybody together, then you tell them that you want a berth for it. You're not going to pay to go on their cruise. You'll go and help, but you get that free cruise. You get one check instead of waiting on 15. So if you get 15, 16 cabins, they're all on one check. It's a nice check. You can depend on it. You know when it's going to come pretty much. And I'm telling you right now, that right there is nice. You have one group leader. You're not dealing, guys, think about this. I much rather do 16 at one time, send the same information to everybody, plan the same hotel for everybody, than to have 16 cabins. And I'm dealing with 16 different people, 16 different dates, 16 different dates of deposits, 16 different 4 different ports, 6 different cities, whatever. Think about what you're doing. You're not doing anything different for a group, basically. You do have to be very organized, don't get me wrong, but you're doing the same thing that you're going to do for a regular cruise. We just talked about 15 things that were the same thing last week. So it's definitely going to come out time-wise. It's going to, especially after you do a couple. You can do them in your sleep after you do a few. You're sending, like I said, you're sending the same documents to the same people, 16 of the same people, not 16 spread over 3 months. And the itinerary, you prepare it once and you send it all out, not 16 itineraries to 16 different families. One call and it takes care of many. One call, one email, I should have said. You can call your group leader. You can call and say, spread the word. You can send out an email to everybody. It's a one-stop, so much easier than dealing with multiple cabins. And if you can book people into existing groups, you've kind of got the same situation. Because if you put 2 or 3 people that want to go in May into the same group, You've got the same itinerary for them. So that's just another benefit of that. And I'm going to tell you that first commission check, you'll be screaming after your first group, oh, I'm never going to do this again until you get that check. And then you're going to say, okay, what do I need to do that could have made this better? What can I do to help myself, if nothing else? How can I make this better? What can I change this form that it needs to say? Or what confusion was there? Keep notes. Keep notes. You get that first commission check, you're addicted. You'll be addicted to groups. All right, we're at the end, guys. One more time. Every week I say it. If you came across us somehow, I don't know how anybody comes across this, but I guess it's on YouTube and out in internet land. If you've ever wanted to be a travel agent, if you are a travel agent and you're unhappy where you're with your host agency or your situation, I just want to say that we have a great group. We've got a great, amazing agency, and I always say I can't help but talk about it, and it's true. And we really do. We have the best job in the world. So if you're not an agent already, or you're disgruntled, there's a better way. If you've been wanting to be an agent at any time, if you know somebody that brought you here, told you to watch this training, or you're at their house right now and they just happen to be watching it, and you're like, whoa, please just tell them. Say, that looks really interesting. They'll tell you everything about our company. We've got an industry recognized certification program that's unheard of. I don't know if anybody, I know nobody has what we have. I can tell you that. And I've seen people pay $10,000 for less. I've paid a lot of money for less. I can tell you that. The training is unbelievable. We have ongoing training, just like what I'm doing right now. We all share and do things for each other and help each other. And then we have amazing support with our agency that we could, our office and our owners are just phenomenal. They're working right now. Our technology is awesome. Our website's awesome. Our back office is phenomenal. We've got virtual business cards that are off the chain. But they're also working on a booking system that is going to say every week, and it's so true, it's going to change a lot of things in this industry. And a lot of people are going to be very surprised by it. The hosting fees, I don't give those out because, again, they're embarrassing. Our owners they're giving this away. Like I said, I've paid a lot more for a lot less. If you don't know somebody, if you're interested, if you want to be an agent or you're looking for another host agency, I'll talk to you. Email me. There's my email address, travel.tammywalker@gmail.com, or you can go to my website. But just reach out to me, and I'd be happy to help you. And I know what it's like to not be happy with a host agency or not have the support that you need. And that's one of the reasons I do this, so that everybody feels like they can get the training they need. Or if you came up on this and you never thought about, you have no desire to do all this craziness that we do, we'd love to have you as a VIP client. Again, if you know somebody from our agency, or if you know a travel agent, please give them your business. They deserve it. I think you can see how much work we do if you've watched any of these. Our goal is lowest prices, benefits. We just treat everybody the same regardless of what you spend. Has nothing to do with how much you spend at all. So we're always looking for those lowest prices and the best bang for your buck. You get access to our client only specials. And right now, I don't know how long it's going on, but for 3 days, you get a 3-day, 2-night hotel stay for free, just for registering on our VIP client list. And you can do that by getting in touch with somebody if you know them from our company, or you can go to my website and do it, or email me and I'll send you the information. They send it right to your email. All you do is just sign up on the VIP client list. We start sending you our specials, and all you pay for that 3-day, 2-night stay is like the taxes. That's it. Just unbelievable. I don't even know how they can do it. Look at this, guys. It's all I feel right now. All right, guys, it's Q&A time. Anybody has any questions? What a long night. I knew it was going to be like this. I'm so sorry. I feel awful for keeping you guys so late. It's just a lot that's why I broke it into 2. I knew that it was going to do this. Let me go back here. Let me see where I'm at. Here I am. Okay, guys. Okay, if you have any questions, type them over here for me. Well, that was a lot. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you might have to watch it a couple of times. And you can always message me if you have more questions. I have, yeah, this is it. Yeah. Explain how they collect the deposit. Do they take their card with the authorization form? That was something that she was confused about. Okay. When they fill out the form, when I have them fill out the form, it's got their credit card authorization. It has their credit card, what type it is, all that, the number, everything. You just go in to where I showed you to make a payment, and you put that in there for the initial deposit. Now, if it's time for them to pay their full deposit and you're wanting to get on the cabin, then you would go to birth guest, right down at the bottom where I showed you. You would go to whatever category they're wanting. If they want an 8B, you go to that balcony, pick their room, and then you apply the remainder of the deposit. They always give you like 48 hours. So if you go and pick that cabin, it's going to say, okay, $250 per person. It's going to say $500 deposits due for 2 people. So you've got $100 in the little kitty, let's call it, the little account. So you're going to apply $400 there. You're going to immediately go to the group where the main group screen. You're going to go to payment, and you're going to move that money out into and you'll see it. You'll see. I can do something, and I'm trying to think if I have a group right now that has any money in it. But you'll move it out of that account into their birth stateroom. They give you, it's not like if you pay $400, then they're not going to let you have a stateroom. That's not how it works. They'll give you the stateroom number, everything. You're just going to move that $100 out of that account, and you're going to give it to them. You're going to move it out into their actual stateroom, their actual account. I mean, their actual stateroom account. So you'll see where you can move it. Yes, you have them fill out the form. It's got the credit card authorization with it, and then you go in and you use that credit card to apply it. Now, if they decide they want to change credit cards, with Carnival, they save them. So I always just say, well, you want to use the same one? They say yes. It's so easy. You just click, you go to, it says saved card, and you pick the credit card that they used last time, put how much money they're wanting to pay. If they want to pay a $50 payment, they can make payments all the way up until their final payment. So if they want to make payments, a lot of my people do that. They'll say, okay, I'm doing $100. I'm doing $500. You just go there and bam, it's already saved, unless they want to change cards. Now, if they want to change cards, you really need to get a new credit card authorization. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, just if you go on like a cruise night and you do something like that for a business or a meeting or whatever to give them the information on the cruises, then have those with you. A lot of people will come running up going, I'm ready. I'm going to put my deposit down tonight. Take the information down. If they're wanting, maybe they don't want you to apply it till Friday, put a note on it. You've got their credit card information, and you're going to apply it when you get home. Or you can do it right there on your computer if you have it with you. You can just pull up the group that you've already saved and apply it, email them a confirmation showing that they paid $50 deposit. They're not going to explain to them they're not going to have a stateroom, not until the final deposit's paid. So that's that with Carnival. Same thing with Royal Caribbean, all of them. You just get your form and just apply it. Go to make payments and apply it. You can also call them and they'll do it over the phone, but it's too easy to do through the system. Any other questions? That made me think of something just now was the cruise nights. If you do that where you go and like present to market a cruise, there's marketing materials like crazy. There are videos. A lot of agents do that. They'll do, if it's like a meeting, like a club or something, they'll do videos. They'll put like a video up. They'll show a video of the ship, of the different ports, whatever. They'll do like a video. That's like their presentation. And then they tell them about that particular cruise, when it is, how they do it, how they can make payments. you want to present all that information to them. You want to make it sound, it's so simple. They have so long to pay for it. You just can't beat it. They can have their drink packages paid beforehand. They can get all of that stuff beforehand. So there's really nothing you can't pay for before you hit that ship. Okay, guys, I hope that all made sense. Next, I'm going to do a video showing booking into the group. I've already started it. Actually booking into an existing group like I promised. And then I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do one for each cruise line. Creating a group in each cruise line. As soon as I get a payment, then I can do a video real quick showing how to put the fun ship account's just weird. Showing how to do that, how to put one out and how to move one out of that account into a saved, an actual stateroom. If you have any questions, let me know. If I hope it made sense. I know everybody's tired. I'm tired. Next week, what was it I was going to do? I got it. I think next week, I'm going to do this on Wednesdays. That's what it was. I'm going to do it on Wednesdays instead of Sundays. And I'll tell you why, because I'm missing church because of my trainings. It takes me so long, and during the week I'm so busy, it's hard for me to even start on them. So I'm not into missing my church. I'm missing them. So I think I'm going to change this to Wednesday nights instead of after Dale's thing. So we'll do it on Wednesdays instead of Sundays. So next Wednesday we'll do it. That makes it a lot easier on me than trying to do it on a weekend. I didn't think about how much work was going to go into these trainings. Next week, I think what I'm going to do is Vax, and the week after that, we're going to do Disney. So I have a special somebody, she knows who she is, that is going to help me with Disney. She's awesome. And we're going to kind of kill that bird together. We're not going to go through everything about Disney. We're going to go about what you need to know to make it. And some specific, there's some really, Disney can get extremely complicated. If you want to specialize in it, please, somebody out there. I mean, I'm telling you, I love Disney. I live here. I've been there. I'm begging somebody to make it like their niche, like name your agency Magic something. Okay, like do nothing but Disney. You can live off of it. But there's a lot of things that you do for your clients with Disney that if you think that cruise bookings are bad, Disney can be insane. So we will see you next Wednesday. Anybody has any questions, just let me know. Email me or Facebook message me or whatever. All right, guys, thanks so much for showing up. We'll see you next week.